Hey guys, we wanted to keep the conversation going here on social media. Ryan, you were finishing up your thoughts about President Trump and the photo opportunity, and then Roe, you chimed in and wanted to make sure you pointed out that he tear gassed protesters and not looters.
Right. This is a really important point because we're talking about a big difference in this country. And it's very easy to conflate the actions of kids where you see a helicopter shot of kids running out of a mattress store with mattresses over their heads and things like that. That's different than people who are standing there and saying to whoever will listen, to the media, to the police, to whoever they're standing in front of, to public officials, that the death of George Floyd, like the death of hundreds and thousands, tens of thousands of African-American men in the history of this country post-slavery who were either lynched during Jim Crow or who were abused by police or any of those things that have happened to be Walter Payton's father. You know, we laud Walter Payton and for his incredible contribution to being the good guy in America. Well, one of the things that Walter Payton always had to deal with was the fact that his father died in a jail cell in Jackson, Mississippi one night while being held by police. And I don't think a lot of people know that, but that informed him about how he behaved and how he decided he was going to use his great skills to try to transcend all of that. And to me, we were on the air yesterday when this was happening. I was watching it and covering it when the president did this, and my mouth dropped open. I couldn't believe what I was looking at.
Everybody, have you ever seen a president not be the calming voice when we have crisis in the country? He was threatening military action and threatening the Insurrection Act.
And let's go back a little bit in the conversation he had earlier in the day with the governors across the nation. And so, kudos to our governor, J.B. Pritzker, who gave it right back to him and stood up. And I can't imagine what a conference call is like when you're on the phone with the president of the United States, who is saying you're going to look like a jerk if you don't get the riots and the protests. He's so concerned with appearance.
Well, to be a tough guy. Appearing to be a tough guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? The governor's weak.
His administration has been built on, and now we're seeing it at the worst of times. It's time out for the ego right now.
Well, I'm wondering though how that's going to reflect in the polls when it's time to go to vote. I just hope people don't have short memories and remember all of these things. And I think that for those that didn't know before, now Trump's actions are really showing who they are. I always subscribe to the saying, when someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. So I've already known who Trump is. A large percentage, especially of people of color, have known who Trump is. I think now other folks are waking up and seeing the things that we've already been seeing. We've been trying to tell you, we've been trying to get you to understand, and you didn't see it. And now the sheet has been pulled from over everybody's eyes, and they are awake and they can see what's going on.
I wish that was
true. I hope
true.
it's reflected in the polls.
Yeah. I don't think that is true though. I think that people who that stunt was designed specifically to light up his base, and it did. If you looked at social media last night, people are like, "Yeah, finally, he's standing up for churches. He's standing up for the rule of law." And there are people who live in smaller towns in America or affluent suburbs in America, and they look at this and they go, "Oh my God, look what's happening. Look at those people stealing." That's what they say, right? Yeah. And so when Donald Trump equates those people stealing with those protesters, that completely mixed crowd of gender identity and of racial mix and all of that in that crowd yesterday outside the White House. I mean, when he by tear gassing him and sending him running, they all appeared to be looters, right? So the images to those people is to the almighty whiteys, as some people call them, is basically they're just part of the problem too.
Right.
They're getting in my way, or they're making me uncomfortable, or they're going to steal from me, which I think is what the base fear is.
Yeah, and you saw a lot of the reports saying that he was angry that the public found out that he was hiding in the bunker. and not hiding, but he was taken to the bunker. And so he wanted to be seen in public in front of the church for a photo op. That has been what some of the reports are. But my biggest thing was he was not a calming voice, and he did not ever say the word police brutality or just embrace the fact that this has been going on for decades, or saying, hey, we are going to work on fixing this problem. I mean, we know that
are you surprised? Are you really
surprised? I thought somebody would write a speech, and he was reading the prompter. I thought that it would be worked into that speech.
No, he's never going to acknowledge it. He's never going to say anything about it because it's not a problem to him or for him. And his base doesn't see it as a problem either. I think that, and Roe is right. His base is hyped, and they are excited about the things he's doing. I think there are the people that have been in the middle or maybe teetering a little bit towards his side. Now their eyes are being open, but the base is never going to. The base in many ways are the problem.
No, you're absolutely right.
We had a lot of people, callers yesterday, who were on the line that are following what's happening on social media and also on conservative cable news and things like that. These are all in Democratic states. These are Democrats. These are Democrats who aren't doing well. This is Democrats who the argument has been for a long time that it's the Democrats who enslaved Black people since the Civil Rights Act. And there is this idea that it's them, that it's nakedly political. This is just about winning an election. And I think what you see on the other side here is that there's no good that comes from the maintenance of the political rhetoric, because that's just designed to divide us so that a minority can win a majority election, which is what has happened, right? When the majority of people in America voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, whether people like it or not, this is the fact. And Donald Trump was president. But that also happened in 2000 with George W. Bush, and that happened in 1960 with John F. Kennedy. So that happens as part of our system, but it doesn't make us feel better that we are being divided intentionally by the politicians, turning on each other. And there are young people on the streets who are that are alive right now. There are people, whether they're police officers or they're going to be protesters or looters or whatever, that are going to die between now and the weekend. There will be death in the streets here, and it's because we continue to be divided. Nobody wants to calm us.
Right. And, when you talk about Trump's base, think about, he says so many crazy things that we forget about the other crazy things that he said. I mean, going back to Mexicans are rapists and drug dealers. Remember that? Yeah. Going back to grab her by the everyone else lost their job over that. He became president.
Yes.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. But calling it the Chinese virus, and now people are attacking Asian Americans. I mean, he is as soon as there's looters, there's shooters. Like, as soon as he really pushes the hate instead of being a president of peace. And
he fights it for sure. What do you make of George Floyd's brother, his younger brother Terrence, going out to the scene where his brother was killed and giving a very impassioned speech to the crowd, asking them for peace? My brother would want this. Also imploring that they go to the polls and that they vote, and particularly vote in a system that wasn't even really for them. What do you think about that?
Well, Rodney King did that. Remember 1993? I mean, can't we all get along? Remember after the riots? And I mean,
very well.
Val, you were there. You were a kid there.
I was.
Yeah, and you both were. The reality was that it didn't stop anything, right? I mean, he was out there, please stop, please stop, please stop. Don't do this in my name. And Rodney King was lucky enough to be alive to say that, right? George Floyd isn't alive to say that, right?
Right. And either as Eric Garner, either as the long list that we've seen. Right. And we talked about it. CNN did an amazing piece chronicling just since Trayvon Martin, and we talked about how many people it's been.
Right. So
go ahead, Eric.
The brother, that family, I can only imagine. I know we can all only imagine exactly what they're going through. And I think it's important for us to come together to find the areas where we all do agree and really fight for change. Mm-hmm. The thing is that some people have been so disenfranchised and hurt for so long that the anger and the hurt is just spewing out. So I don't really want to tell people how to protest or how to express themselves. I don't think that it is for me to tell you how to express your rage and your anger. I can tell you what I'm going to do, and I can also say that no matter what, we all need to come together to make some changes, and we need to be swift about it, and we need to be fully dedicated to it. This is a fight that is not going to be easy. And
it's going to,
and a lot of times America feels comfortable and safe when Black people stay in their place and are good, when we are more docile and muted. We want peace. I've seen a lot of, I've had to tell some of my white friends that are allies, when they put up the pictures of Dr. Martin Luther King and say, we have a dream, and say, look, they were peacefully protesting. Understand that to some people that reads as, calm down, don't get too excited, don't get angry, Black people, be peaceful and stay in your place.
Okay, so can I jump on the back of that, though? Something you said earlier when we were live on the air is that, this is, you talked about how this was a creation of white people, and this is your creation. And I think people in every generation since that creation have thought to themselves, well, I didn't do that. I didn't invent slavery. I didn't invent Jim Crow. I didn't do, I work for internship programs and things like that. And I make sure that my staff is as diverse as Chicago is, because I want to represent the voices of Chicago. I do all those things, but I'm a white male, and I'm a white male seen of privilege. And so I take it upon myself to make sure that I behave in a way that is inclusive, because I understand and I appreciate what that means. But what will happen is people will get their back up. People will get defensive when they're said, this is your fault. When they're like, I didn't do anything. Right. So it is about inclusive language.
Let them know that if you benefit from a system and don't speak out against it and do your best to stop it, you are still benefiting from the situation, and it's up to you to stop. I can't go to any white men and tell them what to do. They're going to listen to Roe and Ryan more so than me. So I don't want anybody to take it where I'm pointing a finger, but you're asking the person that is victimized to be concerned about your feelings. And that in itself is something that we've got to stop. People have got to take ownership of what their part can be.
If I'm standing next to you, if you're looking at me and saying, okay, I'm blaming you for this because I'm standing across from you, that's one thing. But if I'm standing next to you, and that is not, then it makes the message harder to be heard when people who are like-minded.
Yes,
people are like-minded.
Hear it. It may be hard to hear, but you have to hear it. And I think that's the problem. The white people standing next to us aren't typically the ones that have the issue. It's typically the ones that are across. And I think that Black people have always had to consider white people's feelings. We got to make sure we present it to them the right way. We don't want to push them off. We don't want to hurt them. We're dying in these streets at the hands of police brutality. There are also other social injustices. We are dying. I can't worry about your feelings and making things palatable for you right now. Get up and fight the good fight. You are in positions of power. If you love me and you care about me, you care about people, and you want to be an ally, don't tell me that the way I'm saying it doesn't sound good to you. Get over it. Get up and do something. Help us. And it's up to you to make sure that your people, your colleagues, your friends know that this is a system that was built by people of privilege. And in order for it to be dismantled, it has to be from the top down. We can't ask the people that have the least of us to do the most for us. I'm not in a position of power to do the things that my allies that are white can do. Do something, and don't tell me to put it in a nice package and a pretty bow. When I have to tell my sons and my nephews to walk a certain way, do a certain thing so you can make it home to me at night. As a white person, you don't have to have those kind of conversations with your sons and daughters. So I can't put it in a pretty bow. If it hurts your feelings, think about how it's feeling for people on my side. Get up and do. This is a crisis. We are in scary times. And if we got to worry about making sure we make white people feel good about the situation, we've already lost.
Right. Well,
Get up and do something.
And Erica, and I think that has been the biggest progress in this movement, and we're seeing this across our country as we are finally seeing white people use their voice more than ever. And
absolutely.
I saw Jonathan Taves, the captain of the Blackhawks, put one of the most beautiful posts yesterday, and everybody should read that on social media, because here is a Canadian white hockey player who came to this country, who doesn't maybe know all of the history of what our country has dealt with. Maybe he does, but he is trying to understand, and he's trying to say, I get it. And for athletes and people who are a platform to finally be speaking out, who are white, and our allies, or at least trying to understand, I think that is the beautiful part. I don't want that message to get lost either, because there is.
And if what I'm saying makes that message lost, if what I'm saying makes the message lost, then we are losing. The message I'm saying is not y'all haven't done good enough, or I'm mad at you. Yes, I'm mad. My message is you're doing it now. We need you. Continue it.
Yes.
Keep it going.
Yes.
And if anybody watching this walks away from, oh, the angry Black woman, she didn't even give us credit for what we're doing. What I'm saying is keep it going.
Yep.
Past this moment. I love you. We need you. And if you hear anything other than that, we have already lost.
Yep. Well, I love you, Erica.
I love you too. And I appreciate what you all are doing.
Yeah. And we'll continue.
And we hear you. We hear you. And everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be heard. We hear you, Roe. We hear you, Erica. And we hear you who are watching this right now on social media. In fact, post your comments, post your videos, questions, whatever it is, get it off your chest. That's what, when we started this show 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, we just celebrated 9 years. We wanted to be a platform for Chicago. We wanted to be the voice of this city. And I think we've done that so far. Unfortunately, we're not in the studio to really do it the way we want to. But right now, social media, we've all said, has power. So leave it here. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you, guys. We will see you tomorrow. We hear you.